we go. So now we are live.
Nice. And I am going to share your channel. Oh, really? I failed at that? Unbelievable.
It's always something.
Yeah, I know. But
Uh,
there we go. Okay. Um, okay.
all right.
Oh,
So just in case anyone starts watching the video from the beginning, because I know not very many people start the videos. They always come in later. But hi, I'm Crimson Oracle, and I'm doing a bit more work tonight on my Adeptus Arbites, the classic metal models that I'm turning into a kill team, and now has evolved into kind of a it's a small army, but I think it's going to be like 1,000 point crusade force. I think roughly. Once I add a knight and some classic metal sisters of battle, and I found an STL file for a knight that is a scaled up version of the old chicken style knight from Epic. That is the 28 millimeter scale version of that. So I'm gonna have to 3D print that.
yes. That's awesome. Holy
Yeah,
cow.
it'll go with the theme very well, and it is basically Imperial Agents is nearly impossible to do 2,000 points like without including other armies in it because it's the sheer like lack of like high point value units
Yeah.
unless you're going like Space Marine heavy.
Yep.
Not that it's very likely I'll actually play, but my kid has been interested in getting his Imperial Guard up to like 1K. So once I print him some tanks, we should be able to do some battles. I don't know why his guard regiment is getting assaulted by the Arbites. They must have done something naughty.
Or they're on Necromunda.
Yeah, exactly. You wanna say hi? You wanna introduce yourself?
I certainly will. Hi, this is D from JD and the Some Sea. My name's Dale. And today I am going to be studying up in, of course, it's backwards on my screen, isn't it? But
But
it's not on
it's correct on my screen.
Okay, good.
Book of Desolation.
Yes. Um,
A fun book.
we this is a fantastic book.
Yeah.
But I am realizing as I'm reading through the campaign that I'm gonna need some brood scum.
Ah, yes. Yes, yes,
Oh,
yes.
and I'm trying to figure. I've got. That's totally not gonna work. Okay, hold on. Watch as I wreck my brand new book on live stream. But I got I got the Secundus box set.
Yeah, yeah.
And it comes with two sprues of the hive scum,
Hmm.
and then you get they have heads for them
Right. They like included it on the Malstrain
on
sprue,
the
right?
mouth string sprue. Um, so it's amazing. Um, I missed the hive scum. When they came out in the box original with the book of
Yeah,
the
yeah.
alchemy. Jay bought a bunch, and I was like, "Yeah, I'll do it, I'll do it, I'll do it," and then they were gone, and I was like, "Oh, come on," you know.
Yeah.
But
The way things sell out is rough.
you know, it's kind of like why nowadays, whenever anything comes out new, I just buy it.
Yeah,
It's
I've kind of gotten myself in the opposite pattern where it's like I don't buy things until they've been out for a while, and if they just go by, I just don't. I try not to pay too much attention to the release cycles, otherwise I just get FOMO, and then I wind up buying things, and then they sit in boxes, and yeah, I'm trying to pare down.
yeah. Well, that's see, I'm the opposite. I just keep filling things up. There's too many empty crooks in here, so I gotta
Gotta get more
fill
stuff
them up.
in. Yep. I
Um,
I
oh,
will be I'll be getting Secundus eventually.
yeah. Well, we see we I, I don't remember if I told you this the last time, but we have been kind of fortunate that one of my oldest friends in the world opened up a gaming store.
Right.
Not yeah, Old Guard Games. Jay just put out a video this week on walking through that place. But yeah, so we started we we started gaming down there, and hell, I gotta tell you, this is ridiculous. We picked up four more people last Thursday.
That's incredible.
Oh, I know it's crazy. And now I just did that video on the here let me get them out here. I just did the video on these things. Oop,
Yeah, yeah, those are awesome.
and yeah, no, I love them. They're great. Um, and everybody's talking about Secundus, and they're all waiting for us to launch. I built those 7 tiles
Right.
earlier in the summer, and uh, not really knowing. I mean, I think
Right.
on that last tile, this kit had just come out, and we still didn't really know. They released the the stupid walls and columns, but
Mhm.
nobody really knew what was going on. And then this book shows up, and I'm reading, and I'm like, wow! I was like, I wasn't very far off, you know,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
for how I was building the tiles and stuff. But this campaign is all three of the ways you can play Necromunda in it all at once. That's kind of how the campaign's supposed to run.
Yeah, it's really
So
fascinating.
I think it's the good lord. That's I wish they would have kind of let everybody kind of know about a year and a half ago that they were just going to say, you know what, everything's going to be cool, dudes. Just
We're fixing
you
it.
know,
It's fine.
we're going to put all this. Anybody that wants to prepare for this, just do it. So, but getting back to the game store, there's a good chance that when we start the Secundus campaign, we might have Jay and I are talking about splitting it and running two Secundus campaigns simply because of all the people interested.
Right, right.
It's not, neither one of us are prepared for that. I mean, it's
Yep.
great. I'm not complaining or anything, but I'm trying to think here, and I'm like, oh my god, it's like it's because we got four more people, and there's several others waiting in the wind or in the wings that want to get in on a campaign. And right now, Jay's running. Jay just started an Ash Waste campaign, and he released a video on that too. No, he hasn't released it yet. Um, but it's the name of the campaign is the Road to the Ash Wastes. So
Mhm.
the end, sorry, the Road to Secundus, and
Right, right.
the end of it is going to end up being at the walls of Secundus, and then we go in from there. And I'm just, I there's several things that I'm reading here, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm like,
Yeah.
every turn you get to roll on one of these while you're in the dead zone, and D3 Malstrain Tyramites, D3 Broadscum, D3 Broadscum, and one Broadscum leader, Malstrain Gene Stealer, and a Malstrain Gene Stealer Prime.
Yep.
This is every turn you roll on this, and then these things come out, and I'm
Yep.
just like, oh my god.
Yeah, apparently Secundus is absolutely crawling with Gene Stealers.
Right. And one of the reasons everybody really likes playing with us is that I kind of have an immersion thing going
Yeah.
on. And I just wanted to keep that. So yeah, we're gonna put some of these kits together here, and then I'm gonna probably do some digging. So I have plenty of models. I
Well,
just have to put them
you're
all out.
you're spoiled for options with the Hive Scum kit. It's really fantastic,
Well,
and it
yeah.
works really well with a lot of the other kits in terms of like the Gene Stealer Cult kit and the
Mhm.
Orlock kit and a few others where the parts work really well together.
Right. Yeah, no, I believe you. It just dawned on me just recently, a couple of days ago, on how many models I should probably try to have ready. Because we could have up to 6 games going all at once,
Yep,
and I'm like,
that's a
God,
lot. That's a lot.
mm, and it's great and everything. I just, it's,
No,
I have a thing.
it's a lot of stuff to like support. Like you want to make sure you have equitable distribution
Well,
of assets. You know.
well, and the other thing is that some of the guys and girl, amazingly enough, we
Nice.
have a girl, came of her own volition, wanted to learn how to play, um, which is that's another one that's just amazing too. And she's great too. Oh my God, fantastic. I would love 10 of her for a campaign, and we could just play all the time.
Yeah.
Um, but uh, they want to help, and I'm like, well, I'm not sure what I need you to help with yet.
Yeah, I have to like figure out what I need to put on the table before I can
well,
hand
I
out
think on yeah, I think
delegation.
on Thursday I'm gonna just tell them, I'm like, yeah, just put together jerks, and just pick a bunch of jerks. We'll call them broods, and then we'll have them, you know.
Yep.
But mouse trained brood scum, the player with priority decides what weapons and war gear they are equipped with. Oh, that's even worse.
Well, that you can get around. That is an easy arbitrator fix. Like,
Yeah,
all right,
I mean,
you have the option of these models. Like, and whoever picks first gets the models that they pick. And when the models are winnowed down, that's what's available. Because there's practical realities here.
I totally get it, but unbelievable. Yeah, they can have anything, and you decide each round what they have.
Yeah, no, that's. I mean, yeah, like I said, the Hive Scum kit has a lot of bits in it, so that ain't nothing.
Some fighters are noted as primes or leaders. These represent the most dangerous examples of their kind. A fighter is indicated as being a prime or a leader, increase its attacks and wounds characteristic by 4. Well, that would mean.
Pretty
You would
standard
think
champion
that would.
fodder.
Oh yeah, I know, but ah oh okay. See, I didn't see this part. It's a Necromunda book, so I went right to the campaign footage just to read it. But of course, this means that there are weapons, because in this there's no, they don't have anything really,
Right.
and characteristics or anything like that. You just put them out, and once they die, you just pull them for the most part. Um, oh, okay.
Yeah, I
This
was
is
actually one of the things I really like about the book is that it has the rules for corrupting gangs into the Malstrain cult, and it included the options for both enforcers that have been corrupted into the Malstrains and corpse grinder cults that have been corrupted by the Malstrains, which means that we can finally have chaos corrupted gene stealer cults again, which was
Yeah, no
which was a
kidding.
thing in like first edition and hasn't been a thing since, and it's finally back in all of its full glory. Hi,
Yes.
Professor Meteor. We've got some viewers saying hello. Glad that you enjoy Necromunda. Glad that you got into it from the show. I've always said that Necromunda is the. I wouldn't be making a podcast about it if I didn't think it was the best game that GW makes because it's just so much fun. And I wish I had more time for it at the moment, honestly. But I'm possibly there's a chance I'll be moving closer to a game store in the next year, and if that happens, then I will hopefully be running events there on a more regular basis. Um, yeah, you can make and Perp says yes, you can make your leader into a psyker using the mouse train rules, which means you can have a corn worshipping close combat monster psyker, which is just hilarious. And totally confusing and weird, and yet simultaneously completely in line with the very old background for the chaos corrupted gene
Yep.
stealer cults.
Yep.
And I actually
Yeah.
think so. In my opinion, it's actually a way to tone down corpse grinders a little bit because the
Mhm.
brood scum become troops, so you could take them in place of those really cheesy initiates that they have, whatever they're called, the not like the guys who can actually take ranged weapons and stuff, um, and the brute scum are much more normally costed. They don't include infiltrate for free. So I think it's actually a way that you could make a really weird, really thematic corpse grinder cult army or a gang that is actually less of a like rules avalanche than the original gang by swapping those guys out. Uh,
Yeah.
but of course, you do have to take a certain number of the other guys if you take the corpse grinder troops that have the armor and stuff. Because it's like you have to take 3 per one guy or something,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
or 2 per one guy. I can't remember which it was, but regardless, I looked into it. It is virtually unplayable in Ash Waste because
Yeah.
I was thinking
Yeah.
about doing an Ash Waste campaign, so I was like, it would be a fun project to make a chaos corrupted corpse grinder gang
Oh,
for Ash Waste, and then I looked into like what the points values of everything was, and it was completely untenable
yeah.
to try to like fit the because like all of the gene stealer stuff is like close combat oriented, and all of the corpse
Mhm.
grinder stuff is already pretty close combat oriented. So
Right.
playing with the corpse grinders in the ash waste seems like it's a challenge, and trying to mix in the gene stealer corruption stuff with them and the ash waste just seemed like it was
I
uh,
don't think you, I,
impractical.
I don't think you could remember how to play the guy. There'd be too much stuff.
Yeah, well, and like you would never be getting into combat, which is like the only time you're actually any good. I mean, I guess you could do like there's like some cheesy tactics cards stuff you can do to like
Yeah.
slingshot your guy across the board.
Yeah. We gotta pose the question to the Gilders Ford guys.
Yeah.
See if they can do it. So I'm looking this up as to what you just said. Okay, the following game can be Maelstrom corrupted. Quador Delac, Escher, Goliath, Orlok, and Van Sar. Bad Zone Enforcers, Corpse Grinder Cults, and Palanite Enforcers. No Nomads,
Nope.
no Ogrin, and no Squat.
Gene
That's
Stealer
very
Corrupted Ogren would be fantastic.
was the first thing I thought of. I thought it would be too, but it looks like no. Huh,
Interesting.
that's very interesting.
I thought it was
Huh.
interesting that they changed who could be corrupted from the previous Gene Stealer corruption rules.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, totally. Well, they were gonna update it a little bit.
Yeah, no,
Like
it was.
Bad Zone Enforcers, I could see, but the Corpse Grinder cults is a huge surprise to me.
No, I wasn't expecting it at all, and I was so
No,
giddy when I was literally on the light rail, like on my way back from returning my rental car from Nova, because the book had come out the Saturday of Nova, so I had
yeah,
been too busy running things to read it, and so like it was Memorial Day or Labor Day, that like Monday, and I had dropped
mhm.
my rental car off at the airport and was on my way back to my house on the train, and reading it over, and I was like, "Oh my god, the opportunity has arisen for the greatest thing, my favorite thing that has not been supported in the rules in so long that I thought they would never, ever, ever come out with it again."
And you know what's very interesting?
What?
You could give them a vehicle too.
Yep.
That's really interesting. Well, you could play with the vehicle in this
Yeah,
if you're
absolutely.
within the walls. Yeah, because I don't know how you do it outside of the walls. That one I'm not entirely sure, but I okay. What an awesome book. This is even more awesome now.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm very pleased. I was a little disappointed with the campaign books, the three campaign books they put out.
Yeah,
It felt like they
me too.
were kind of forcing a lot of the like gang specific stuff into those books, in a
They
way that
were
didn't feel very organic.
and and my take on it was see that one truthfully didn't surprise me because that's GW. They that's what they do.
Yeah.
Been doing that for years. It's like, hey, it's only this one little thing in this one little book, and yeah, you have to buy the whole damn book just to get this. That one's not. What I was a little bit disappointed on, especially with Cinderac Burning, which
Mm-hmm.
arguably is the best one out of all of them.
Yep.
What the heck kind of Necromunda campaign is it that you end being the ruler of Necromunda?
Yes. God.
What is that?
Yeah, no, that was
I just
very like who thought this was a good idea?
I don't know. I mean, obviously Andy had something to do with it,
Yeah, yeah, but I think that they probably just they got someone got an idea and was like, let's just pursue this and see where it goes.
And then
And I don't think it was that well received. Just
uh,
based off of having talked to people about it, I think it was a mixed. I think it was a as far as Necromunda books go, it was a pretty mixed reception.
right, I agree, but I wonder sometimes, just talking out loud, because that's what I do.
Yep.
Is it the same? Is it because the Ash Waste rule set is just a little bit conky?
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
I mean
like,
it
are
is.
those
It's definitely
things?
partially that. I think
You
that the Ash Waste rule set is one of those things where it was like I played it when it first came out. I played like a battle with like a bunch of vehicles and stuff, and it was awesome. And it was just like, okay, they've really nailed how to do vehicle combat in this game. Like I am I am impressed. It's better than any of the homebrews like that I've tried or whatever. And then I had a friend playing the Ashway Snowmads, and it really felt like they were a little bit broken, like not in the good way, like broken in the bad way.
Right. They were broken
In
in a bad way.
in
Right.
the Ash Waste,
Right.
in their home turf, where they should be
Right.
OP,
Yep.
they don't match the story at all of them like hitting from the darkness and then fading away and them never finding a body, like,
No, I don't.
and
Right
that
about that.
frustrated me. And like we did what we could to like mitigate it, and I think he did fine in the campaign. It helps that like uh I was smart about like how we designed missions and stuff so that it wasn't constantly unfair, but it was it was a lot to kind of work around. the nomads just feeling kind of half baked, and then they just kind of moved on. And
Yeah,
like
right.
even when they came back around to give them like Queen Lorshar or whatever, that just was not even sort of the thing that they needed.
Yep,
Like
I agree.
a special character that you can like entreat to join your gang that like for one game.
Hmm.
This is not fix the actual like recurring issue that people playing the gang have, which is that they need transportation that is fast. Like,
Yep, and
but
maybe can do something every once in a while.
yeah, yeah, no, it was very. I found it jarring, but that was
Yeah.
the only real complaint I had about the
Hmm.
setting. The Ashways campaign itself, I think needed some editing.
Just
Uh,
a little. Yeah,
it's just
just
a
a
little
little.
sprawling,
Yeah.
and that's okay. But
Yeah,
that's
it's
the reason that I bashed it with the together with the base building campaign, the Outlands campaign.
mhm.
Because I think
Yeah.
that like fighting over the roadways was fine, but it was a little bit. I don't know. It just felt a little abstract.
Well, I thought they tried to crap or crack two mechanics together that shouldn't have worked. They were calling those tradeways territories, and
Yeah.
I was kind of like, I was like, they don't really, it doesn't really work that way,
Right. Like it's a
you know.
large barren stretch of highway.
I would have, I actually think it would have been a little bit better for them if they would have tried to get more of the Law and Order campaign in there.
Sure. Right.
Um,
Like jobs.
right, yeah, right. That's you know, but yeah, I don't know. Jay's got this Ash Waste thing started, and I've got the other group with uh, my really making it up on the fly narrative campaign, trying to catch my squats, which has um, it's kind of funny because so we sit on a 20-foot table right
Hmm.
down in the basement at the game store, and um, there's 8 of us on one side playing my campaign, and then there's Jay had 14, I think, playing his campaign on the other side of the table, and everybody was playing completely different Necromunda. It was
Yeah. Yeah.
really ridiculous because mine basically I didn't have any uh, uh, scenarios.
Hmm.
What I did was gave them a mission, and then I made everything on the board work.
Interesting.
And it took them a second to figure that out. Well, I used the Book of Peril, my favorite book of all. Although this one's sort of quickly turning into my next favorite book,
Yeah.
but my favorite book of all Necromunda books is the Book of Peril. There's so many really good rules for abstract things.
It's
You know, like
true. It's true. They really did a lot of like, okay, like what about environmental stuff? Like this game is a game that's partially about setting, right? So
well,
like the setting should have rules.
yeah. So and basically all I did was so it's a simple action for it's kind of the running joke. I'm gonna press the button on this thing. That's kind of what they say when they want to do stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, and then I was like, well, roll a d6. You're looking for a 1 or a 6. Anything in between is going to kind of be mediocre. So then I just take the paragraph of whatever rule is and then pick out whatever works for whatever it is. You know,
Yep.
one of them turned on a barge last week, and the thing lurched forward and took out a big guardrail and knocked. It was a lot of fun, but it certainly was not the same Necromunda that they were playing on the other side of the table with the edge.
No. No, I mean Ash Waste is a very different game.
Oh, it is, and not that it's not um, fun. It's a blast, but it was really funny because we had a few outsiders come in and like, what in the hell is going on? Because everybody was just laughing and having a great time, and it was it was awesome. But they were like, "Well, what game are you guys playing?" Well, they're playing Ash Waste. We're playing. What does that mean? I was like, "Well, it's all Necromunda." I was like, "It's just different ways to play."
Yep.
And oh my god, it was like I took the sun out of the sky with one of those guys. He was just like, "What do you mean you don't play by the rules?" And I was like,
You can really tell people who have just like never like they've never done homebrew
"Well,
before.
I mean, if it's not written down, it's not a thing, And it's like, well, yeah, I
Coming
mean, yeah,
from coming from role playing like as a background, it's very it's funny
mhm,
how rigid people can be
yeah,
about following like GW's rules, and then they complain about the rules because
yeah,
GW has issues with how it writes rules, and it's like, you know, there's a simple solution to this
yeah, it's
problem.
and it's really easy. The thing is that it's not uh supposedly set in stone, which means you can't math hammer it, which means
Yep.
you're somewhat playing a little bit of a different game.
Well, that's one of the things I think is really interesting about Necromunda's basic mechanics is there's a lot of little kind of spoiler things that can screw up even like a gang that's like tuned, you know,
Mhm.
where like you have a couple of things go wrong and suddenly you're losing a game or you've lost a game and you were heavily at advantage, but like it doesn't
No,
matter. It like
make
the
any difference. No, uh-uh. And we won't even talk about skills or war gear or any of the other nonsense that there is. The new players we've got going on right now are having a lot of fun exploring just the different things. And
Yeah,
then,
yeah, and like like you said, the Book of Peril is
oh,
loaded with lots of different, really
oh,
weird and like awful,
it, yeah,
awful
right.
things that you can run into. Like I really like the like radiation like effects that you can
Yes,
have where like people are just
yes,
like taking flesh wounds and it's like good luck.
yep, yeah,
Hope you
right.
brought
You know,
respirators.
you know, if you didn't do this, or just, I mean, it's what drew me to the sump was the Book of Peril right
Yep.
away. Um, and I show that paragraph or those that, well, actually, it's only 3 sentences as to the description of what the sump is.
Yeah.
And then I'll have the whole sump board set up and everything else. And I'll show them, the Book of Peril. Yeah, this is the sump. And then they read it and they're like, all of this came from this? And I was like, yep. I was like, totally. I was like, but if you haven't played games for a very long time, it's hard to get it. And I understand that. I totally get it. Um, one of the reasons I love this game as much as I do is just the opening. You could it's just so everything is available.
Yep.
It's you know.
Well, yeah. I mean, we've had what 7 years of uninterrupted development.
Yeah,
Like what
I'm
what
getting,
GW
getting
system has had that in decades?
40K,
Well, but
but
40K got refreshed
no,
over and
no, right.
over again. You
You're
know.
right. Yeah, you're right. You're right. The longest, I think the longest stint for 40K was fifth edition, wasn't it? I think.
Possibly fifth was eighth. That was only 4 years. I think it might have been third
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah,
third
yeah.
was third was late '90s and fourth wasn't until 2004. So it might have been third edition
Oh,
was the longest,
yeah,
but there
you're
was
right.
also like a big update in the middle of third edition to the
Yep,
style
it
of the
was.
books and stuff.
Well, that was the big thing because the release of the codexes were on a slower pace than they are now.
Yeah, yeah, oh
But they
yeah,
were they were changing the model ranges and everything, and that was when the plastic was changing. Um,
yeah. It was a serious
all of it.
I mean, and they also were introduced. I mean, third edition is when the Tau came out. It's when
Dark Eldar.
yeah,
Yep.
uh, Necrons.
Yep. Those are the-
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it was a lot. And I think even like the Metal Sisters of Battle it dates back to that era too.
well, the beginning of it. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then they released the oh my God, that's right. The Rhino.
Yep. Yep.
The Rhino is from that era.
Yep.
Um,
And it's
and
virtually unchanged since.
well, to a certain extent, yeah, that's right. But
The Sisters
yeah,
Battle
Rhino
Rhino being
Ranger.
like I think the most recent ground up sculpt, but it basically is the same bones.
Yep. Yeah. Well, they added more parts. That was.
And they're
If I
lovely.
remember
I
correctly.
have to say that I've got here I made a 3D printed facsimile of like the old school
Yeah.
immolator, which is incomplete. I still need to print the top hatch, but
Yes, you
I'm
do.
planning on adding a couple of metal sisters squads once I've got some extra budget just to pad out this the Agents of the Imperium side of this army. Um, or yeah, I guess it is an army. I was gonna say not army, but it is an army. And then I'm gonna do. I've got a bunch of old metal, uh, like Inquisition stuff, and then I've got this guy who is from the. He's from the Seder Art Studios Old Hammer line, which is all kind of stuff done in the style of Old Hammer. And he's a rogue trader, and so he's going to be a rogue trader because there's a rogue trader unit in the book.
That's cool.
And so this little like Scrivener guy, I gave him like a little arm with a big
Yeah.
fancy looking gun, and he'll be the Archaeo tech guy who comes with the rogue trader in the rules. And now I have to get a metal death cult assassin, and then I have to decide or find. I either need to decide to buy or find my old metal hospitaler. From
Did you say a death cult assassin?
a metal death cult assassin, yes.
Really? Huh.
Yeah, because the rogue trader unit is the like archaeotech guy with the pistol, the hospitaler, the rogue trader, and the death cult assassin, and so they have that like that was what came in the plastic kit, in that rogue trader kill team set from
That's the metal chick, right?
yeah with the two swords yeah so I really want to get one of those. They're not even that expensive on eBay, so I'll probably. I'm mostly just deciding whether I want to get both sculpts or one.
I was gonna say because that's my Escher, one of my Escher gang leaders.
Yeah,
is
yeah, it's a great model.
a model.
Um, so I'm gonna grab one of those, and then that'll complete because the whole point of this army, right, is everything is like rogue trader, well, not really rogue trader, but like second edition style. So everything is very like I want. Not everything will be metal because obviously we got the 3D printed rhinos, and I've got a bunch of plastic scouts that are filling out the metal Arbites because they're the closest thing to it in terms of their bodies. Um, but even most of the scouts are like metal scouts that I've converted to be Arbites. But so it's not pure metal, but it's mostly metal. And I am very interested to kind of see what else I can kind of put together for like there is the like breachers, the Navy breachers.
Yep.
And I have a bunch of the old metal Casterkin that I've converted um, to be my stormtroopers for my Inquisition stuff. And so I'm thinking I could probably make either them into either breachers or the voidsmen, or something
Right.
like that. So I'm just trying to figure out like all the different classic kits and metal kits I can kind of bring into this fold, and then also I'm digging around more. There's a couple of classic knights that have been kind of redone
Mm-hmm.
um, as they were for Epic. I'm gonna pull a picture to just put on the thing because it's much easier to just
Sure.
show the visual than it is to
Sure.
um but they're very fun. Um and I have no idea how big it will be, which is
Hey.
always exciting. Uh,
My
let's
mother
see.
had a drug abuse
Oh, for
problem.
crying out loud! Stop. Sorry.
It happens. All right, so this is the first one. So I'm posting it. I'm putting it on the stream, and then I'll send
Right.
a copy of it on the
Okay.
in the
Okay.
show planning
Cool.
channel or whatever.
That way I
Unless you can see the preview from or at least you can see the stream.
no. Every time I try to turn on YouTube, a stupid commercial comes
Yep,
up.
that's what I was expecting. So I actually yeah, I have YouTube muted while I'm streaming. That way it doesn't. But yeah, so I just posted it in the show planning channel. But it's a real beauty of a model. Just very outlandish. Um,
Wow.
and and then I think I'll probably
So is
also
that what scale is that?
so it is 28 millimeter scaled up from Epic. So I have no idea how large it will be. I'm
Oh,
very
okay.
curious. Uh,
Okay.
and then
All right.
there's this kind of Squire dude that I'm definitely going to also wind up printing at some point because he's more of the kind of classic. And then the last one is the like Crusader who looked like
Yeah. Right.
a guy going for like a walk
Yep.
out
Yep.
for a
Remember
quick
that guy?
jaunt, gonna melt some Tyranids and then head back to work.
Well, sure. Yeah. So are you gonna do any Death Watch?
So I'm kind of torn. So I would need to track down some real classic models in terms of metals in order to do it, and I already have a metal Space Marine army.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, do I want to do? But like, it would be fun to add some like metal Grey Knights, like one squad of metal Grey Knights and one squad of
Right.
metal Death Watch.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I could do it. I think I could put it together with, you know, with with they had the classic metal Death Watch shoulder pads and stuff. The only thing is the cost and how much effort it's going to take to to track down classic because classic models is always kind of a crapshoot.
Yep.
Oh wait,
It
I'm
is.
just now realizing that of course when I change things in when I changed things in Discord, of course that showed up on the screen because that's where I'm streaming from for the
Ah,
for your portion. So fix
yep.
that. Still working on this whole streaming thing.
Oh,
I'm thinking
well,
about because of course my hobby like the whole Warhammer hobby is like this constant metastasizing beast that's constantly trying to take over my life. I'm thinking about putting together a stream deck using um, using an Arduino and like parts that like switches and stuff that I get on
sure. Sure.
online and putting together something that I could print a case. It could have
Yep.
Warhammer theming and stuff, and it could be very fun.
Well, um, if you were wondering, if you wanted to start Death Watch,
Hey,
I could send you this if
I
you want.
I would
Now,
love
now, here's the deal. He came with a plastic
somebody.
sword.
Yeah, somebody glued some random sword in place.
No, no, no. Well, no. If I remember
Oh,
correctly, the kit came with a plastic.
Oh,
sword.
wow, really? That's
Um,
fascinating.
yeah, which I used already. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I would be willing. I could totally be willing to part. I was gonna make him into a. What is going on with my camera?
Yeah,
Hey,
I
oh,
had to
there.
download an application that like hacks my camera's settings so that I can adjust the zoom because it's so unreliable to do the auto zoom.
Oh, I know, but I don't know how you. Yeah. Well, anyways. Um. Oh, there we go. What are you doing? There you go. Yeah, I could send him to you because the plasma pistol's real.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I could totally send him to
I
you.
love it.
The original,
I
yeah.
love the classic character models. I think
Yeah.
uh obviously the updates have all been near perfect, like Karn, obviously Mephiston,
Mhm.
like the update on like Fabius Bio, all of them have been beautiful. All of the updates on the like Phoenix Lords have been fantastic. But like I think those original models are still
Yep.
near
Oh, you know
perfect to me.
what? I agree. I agree completely.
And there's just something to a metal model. There's just something to it.
There there is, unless you're gonna try to convert it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Right. Exactly. It's always funny when people talk about like, oh, modern GW kits are so monopose. I'm just like,
Yeah, I know. I
have you ever sawed a metal model apart, friend? If you
I
haven't, I don't want to hear shit.
I I have a metal Yarick here
Mm.
somewhere in my pile, and um, it's a second edition one. So the original one has a regular power claw. So when the third edition one came out,
Yep.
it was a plastic model with a metal knob arm,
That's so
if I
funny.
remember right. Yeah, right. And it was one of the most ridiculous kits I ever had to try to do
Yeah.
because he would just fall over.
No, right. Like it's a model that wants to die. It wants to dive off of like off
And
of
all he
things.
would do was fall over and die. And I'm just like, oh my God. I was like, this is the
Well,
dumbest
and then
thing
of
in the
course
world.
the arm pops off every time it makes impact, right? Because you have to super glue it, and that's how super glue is.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Unless you
And,
pin it, it's just gonna pop off constantly. Oh shit! There's like a
and,
little spider on my guy. He's
and
teeny tiny.
pinning, pinning metal models always sounds great. And then you do it and you're
Right.
like, wow,
Then you try to
that
line it up, and you're like, oh my god.
right. Yeah. There's oh, I got to shade. Oh shit. Now it's all different. Now it's,
No, you
and
always wind up like you pin it, you like drill the holes, and then it's like, all right, I'm gonna get some green stuff, and we're gonna
yeah.
merge this joint, and I'm gonna have to just do a little sculpting action.
Yeah. Which also is much easier said than done.
Sure is, sure is. And then it's always the best when you're pulling it apart later, and everything is just like got like random scraps of green stuff
Yeah.
stuck to it.
Yep. Oh yeah. Totally. That just oh. Yeah, let me look for some stuff. If you need some old metal, what about oh, well here.
What annoys me is I had the old metal Deathwatch shoulder pad kit, and I don't think I have it anymore.
No, not him. Ah, there we go. This was the half plastic metal shoulder pad and metal head Nurgle
Oh, I remember those. Yep,
from years ago.
that was one of my first 40K like kits um for my chaos guys.
Here's an all metal one.
is that is that the Doc character? Or is that a generic
Yeah.
Doc?
No, no, no. This is the Doc character.
Snickrot,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, right.
Classic.
What else we got in here? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Here's an all metal one.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
One of the things I really love about looking for like older Rogue Trader stuff on like the STL websites is that like it's so clear that the people working in that space are like like just trying to keep this kind of classic aesthetic alive.
Yep.
Like it's mostly not complete kits. It's mostly parts designed to help you fix up your like metal models that you like got at a rummage sale that don't have all their parts.
Yep. That's right.
Um, and
I had to go in here anyway.
that's love right there is fixing those things up because like their history, a piece of history. Like who cares if it's a resin multi melta on the end of your like 1987 Chaos Warrior, like Chaos Space Marine pure,
You know, I
like
knew I had
probably
one.
lead in the metal like sculpt. Oh yes.
You'd have here. I'll send him with you, with Mephiston.
Oh, that'd be
You're gonna
perfect.
have to make some arms and a backpack.
Yep,
But
I can do that.
yeah,
In fact,
think
I have quite the Space Marine bits box, and there are some like old metal parts kicking around in there too.
there you go.
Lovely.
Second edition Nurgle Terminator. Well, I had to go in here anyways. I had to pull all these jerks out. They're gonna be Maelstrom.
Nice. I love the little like buckets of like random old models.
Oh, here you go.
Oh
Mech
god,
Boy.
he looks so good. He's so skinny.
I know. Malnourished. Oh yeah.
Those orcs were not doing enough crumping. That's the solution.
No,
You
they
know,
were.
if you have size issues as an orc, you just got to get out there and do some more crumping.
Yep. Well, it was a smaller scale.
It's true. It's so true. And what's really funny about it is like it was never a consistent scale.
No,
Um,
it wasn't.
and it
No,
still
only
isn't.
the biggest size.
And people get weird about it, and it's like, guys, come on. Like, if we tried to scale the vehicles properly for this game, the kits would be outrageously expensive, and we wouldn't be able to put like multiple squads like in them because they would take up so much space.
Yep.
Like,
Well, and the other thing that, and this is one of the things. Oh yeah, here we go.
oh yeah, Steel Legion.
He's gonna be a Maelstrom too. Wow, I don't even know where I got this.
Is that a?
It's a mouse.
I got nothing.
I have no idea where I got that from. Huh. But no, the thing that everybody back when this stuff was coming out, it was a different world. You know, I mean,
Yeah,
DW had just started sending models, across the world. I mean, it was, now it's like, oh yeah, just ship it to Canada. It's no big deal or whatever. Back then it was a different deal.
oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, like we kind of live in this bubble where like globalization got normalized so quickly, with the kind of immediate spread of the internet that we forget just how recently all of that happened.
Well, just like what we're doing right here.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this medium didn't exist.
No, there wasn't any effect. And then we won't even talk about um the fact that the third edition Chaos Codex, which Jay is enamored with, and so am I, was written completely different between English and German and Italian and Spanish.
Yep.
And with, they GW was making all of that work back then, before all this junk, I mean, not that I'm a big, they're the GW is GW, that's just how it is, but I also try to make sure that I'm not completely an asshat about everything,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I mean, these are awesome models. I mean, you know, there's nothing like this, a long time ago.
Right.
It wasn't anything. And when I hear people complaining about what they have, I just like, oh my god,
No,
you
it
guys.
gets tiresome. Definitely, there's definitely an element of like, I think people get
Oh,
used to whatever environment they're in, right? And then
yeah,
they just sort of expect things to get better. And it's
yeah,
like, you might just be spoiled. Like,
yeah,
you might have to consider sometimes that like it's possible that maybe the problem is you.
yeah,
Not
maybe.
always.
You know,
Not
you know,
always.
yeah, but most of the time, I know it's my fault. That's fine. You know,
Yeah, yeah. No, exactly. Like,
if it's not your fault, you're not doing anything. So it's, you know, why aren't your models done? Well, because you weren't doing anything.
well, and
I mean,
I see uh like the guys from like Masters of the Forge, like Loopy
mhm,
and them, like
yeah,
they make so much fun with the current edition of 40K. Like they make it work, and
yeah,
like
right,
that proves to me that it's entirely possible to have
yeah,
fun with the game.
absolutely, yeah.
I don't have that same level of commitment to the system.
Well, not the 40K system. Yeah,
Right.
no, I, and it's not that it's bad. I don't do it. I don't want to argue about rules that I don't understand in the first place.
I
I just
Yeah, so for what I want, it is bad at representing the what I want on the tabletop, right?
Mhm.
Like that's the flaw for me. Like
Right.
for me, I really liked what they did with 7th edition where they like went so hard into the like and people complain about it now, like the
Mhm.
formations and like the psychic powers and stuff, but like they had there was, I mean, there must have been 20 psychic disciplines, each
Yep.
with 7 different powers,
Yeah.
and they had wide ranging effects to
Yep.
like ranging from like the freaking like void grenade essentially power to like the ability to like make people hallucinate and attack the wrong target, and the ability to teleport, and like a zillion other abilities. And then now in 40K, psychic powers is just a variant shooting attack,
Yep.
and it's just that doesn't like
Yeah.
that's not what I want from 40K. Like I want the kind of off the wall, like I want you to represent the like insanity of like the tabletop rules
Yep.
with with the kind of choices you have. And like I really liked the formations because it was like someone was like, all right, here's a thematic deployment of models. You don't have to be wedded to this like force organization system where every time you deploy guys on the field, it's an HQ, 2 troops, up to 3 heavy support, up to 3 fast attack, and up to 3 elites. And it's like that's really kind of stayed like and I understand that it was the system for so long, but like having formations was really clever because it was like, here's a thematic detachment.
Well, I thought it was too, and then I also thought they might have gone just a little too far.
Right, some of them were obviously better than others, and that was a problem. And
You know.
they would have benefited from having someone in the studio to go like, all right, like we gotta readjust, like as opposed to just throwing out the entire game system and starting anew, which is what they wound up doing. And that stung because it was like, you guys did all of this brilliant development, and it wasn't just like 7th edition, which was only like 2 years anyway. It was
Hmm.
7th edition was like their latest coat of polish on 3rd edition. Like that was
Right.
the game that we've been playing for
Oh yeah.
damn near 20 years.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they just like threw out the baby with the bathwater, in my opinion. And like I
Yep.
just haven't quite been able to just the game ever since just hasn't quite done it for me. and that's okay. And like I don't need it. I don't need to enjoy it because like I have alternatives.
Yep. Yeah, totally.
And
Yeah,
Horus Heresy still carries that flame, you
yeah,
know.
yeah. No, it does. Yeah, I just got done with a table full of 30 terrain, um, which was a blast. I kind of wish Eric hadn't put 2 pound magnets on the damn thing, but other than that, it was it was fine. But and I um have even gone a step further than that. I have lost my interest in that kind of war game. I
Yeah,
just
like the company scale.
I haven't. Yeah, I'd rather have more grain. Like, you know, this guy here he is.
No,
This
yeah,
guy's
I feel
lethal
that
hand.
completely.
And he's got this, and he had a baby with a girl next door, and all that other junk. And throw it.
Right, right. The kind of stuff that just gets lost when you're playing, like even in like a narrative, like Crusade, and like it's really it annoys me that Crusade came out after Seventh Edition when the rule set was like perfectly tuned for, uh, narrative play and would have benefited immensely from having like a experience and like
Mm-hmm.
all of that system. And of course, you could bootstrap that into the game, and we did.
Third edition had experience points too, if I remember right.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, no, it was in the black book. I know it was because I remember I always tried to get everybody to do it, and then nobody would remember to do it. you know?
But yeah, so like I definitely I think that like that is a that was something that just kind of got that you just couldn't really achieve with a full company size
Yep.
game.
No.
And it's something that I really like, and that's the main thing that I get out of Necromunda. And in a similar way, it's why my next game that I kind of put together will almost certainly be Wrath and Glory played on like virtual tabletop, Foundry virtual tabletop,
Okay.
because I bought Foundry over the summer, and I found this awesome artist who I should probably plug just for plug's sake. But I gotta find his thing on Kickstarter, or not Kickstarter, Patreon. Um,
Let's
but
see.
he produces these absolutely stunning top-down maps that are like uh, you can upload them into your virtual tabletop,
Mhm.
and they are so cool because it's
Yeah.
basically like someone making like Zone Mortalis tiles basically and that kind of stuff,
Mhm.
and like right now he's been working on ship interiors. It's designer, DEZIGNER.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna post I'm gonna put the image up on the stream. And these are assets that can be used, and I'll post it to their show planning. Uh,
Okay.
these are assets that can be used for, like for your uh, for your online games. And then um, he also makes sprites, top down sprites for all of the like characters and stuff. And then there's other people who do other kinds of sprites. So I'm trying to kind of nail down
Oh, all right.
what I want to do. But so he does tons and tons of these and puts them out, and
Ooh.
they're gorgeous. And then with Foundry, you can then like add glow animations and like fog of war and like the player tokens like reveal like line of sight based off of the actual character like line of sight from the model and stuff, all built into the system. So I'm really excited for it because I can like finally live stream games and it can like feel kind of immersive, you know.
Yeah, a little bit more, right?
And like the you know doing that as like as kind of a a way to kind of make the role playing experience more kind of like a it's almost like a video game, you know, where you're kind of interacting with this with with the set pieces are much more kind of it's like playing the tabletop game, you know, where we get to build all of these cool parts because that's of course the the draw of being a tabletop gamer in this setting especially is like we get to just go completely overboard and that's that's the name of the game and then like that's obviously I was preaching to the converted on that front
You don't have to tell me that.
but
I was one of those guys that was told to stop building terrain for 40K because it was too. Why do you have ladders?
like we can't
even
play
go
on this anymore. Do you know how large the bases on knights are? I can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Just trapped in the corner.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I just you. It's awesome.
But yeah, so I'm really excited to kind of get into a little bit of that, like that kind of classic role playing tabletop kind of stuff. You know,
Cool.
that's the and I'm sure I'll have a seat available if you're interested at any point in giving it a try. Because I love making like narrative campaigns. It's fun and I really like the kind of variety that like you run into when you've got to I really let the players go where they want. I'm not one of those people who's like, all right, I'm gonna railroad you into like this setting. It's my friend decided to seduce like he was a dark Eldar. He decided to seduce the captain of his like Corsair fleet, and like I was like, all right, let's see how that plays out. And like he failed some after successfully like seducing the captain. He then failed some persuasion rolls later, and like it ended with them getting exiled from the fleet completely. And like my intention with the campaign was for them to be agents of the fleet, but like he decided to like lie to the guy he was sleeping with, and like go figure.
Yeah, it backfired on you there, didn't it?
Like, all right, well, you made your bed. Like, get ready to sleep in it.
Oh yeah.
Hope you guys like humans, because the Inquisition is a little bit more flexible when it comes to assets.
Flexible? Did you say the Inquisition is flexible?
When it comes to when it comes to the act of bringing on assets that they can exploit.
Oh yeah. Right. Well, certain ones are. Yeah.
Right,
Not all.
like ex-members of a Corsair fleet who has been causing problems for the system, who have inside information,
Yeah. Okay.
But then they also wind up burning down like a not illegal, but a like organ transplantation facility. It was an indoor shopping mall / like it was in Kamara, so like it was filled with like all kinds of bizarre services, because of course the Dark Eldar are firm believers of my philosophy. Anything worth doing is worth overdoing. So of course a shopping mall in Kamara would be a very hellish place. And of course, because Kamara is a libertarian nightmare verse, there's no regulations to speak of, so they accidentally burned the whole place down.
Of course they did.
And again, I was not anticipating that happening, but like as soon as they started setting fires, it was like, all right, well, let's see what happens. And like my favorite thing about Wrath and Glory is that the mechanics for your dice roll include what's called your fate die, I think, or something like that. What every time you roll a die, you roll dice. There's one that is a special color that when it rolls a 6, regardless of whether you succeeded at the overall test, something beneficial happens. And if you roll a 1, regardless of whether you succeeded at the overall test, something goes wrong. And sometimes it's prescribed. Like if you're firing a weapon and you roll a 1, you have a weapon jam or something like that. But a lot of the times it's up to the arbitrator to come up with what happens. But there's a wrinkle, which is that players can make narrative declarations, and the arbitrator gets to then decide whether they accept the narrative declaration or whether not arbitrator, game master or whatever, but whatever, gets to decide whether they are going to accept the narrative declaration. So like you get kind of some agency over what bad thing is about to happen. Like you can totally volunteer to have something blow up in your face, and it's just such an elegant way of like adding a lot of twists and turns into an adventure when like every time you roll there's a 1 in 3 chance that something weird is going to happen that's a little bit outside of what you're expecting. So I'm like it's funny because I am, generally speaking, I'm a crunch kind of person when it comes to role-playing systems. I like detail, I like rules, I like being able to kind of like just go like, all right, like this is the rule for like that, that weapon, like this is how, this is how hitting different body parts works, like all that stuff kind of hard written into the rules. And there's plenty of that in Wrath and Glory, but because of the way Wrath and Glory works, it's very much based off of the DM chooses the difficulty level of the task. Like basically the person describes what they want to do, the DM decides, or the GM decides, all right, you're gonna roll like you're gonna roll on difficulty 3 or difficulty 5, and that's how many like 5-ups you're trying to roll or whatever, or 4-ups or something like that. It's been a while since I've played, and if you are, if you're the kind of DM who's not quick on their feet, it can be a lot because they're asking essentially you to make all of those kind of judgment calls. But that's the stuff that I am good at. I'm very good at what I call, I have a high predisposition towards confirmation bias. I make decisive decisions. And I don't second guess them. So for me, it's like, all right, great, that's difficulty 4. Like, and they're like, well, why is? I'm like, no, just roll.
Just roll. That's what's going on.
And I like that system a lot because like I can always just give them a difficulty roll and then they can try to achieve it, and then like I get to kind of scry the results, and it works. So I actually am pretty evangelical for the Wrath and Glory system, even though like I instinctively would have been kind of suspicious of it because it was a little rules light. Versus like the
light isn't fantasy. That big of a deal,
right?
Yeah, rules light isn't that big of a deal if they're the right rules that they've decided to not do.
Oh yeah. It reminds me of. Oh, go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
I heard a thing recently that was one of the guys from Dropout TV, which is like it's like College Humor's like successor or whatever. They have a D&D campaign that they live stream that or D&D show basically that's been going on for years, and I only found out about it recently, but I've always been kind of instinctively like not super into D&D.
Yeah.
And often been one of the people who's like, just why don't you try other systems,
Mhm.
Um, and I read an interview with the DM from the show from Dropout, and he was talking about why he is why he uses D&D, and it's that he feels like D&D is mostly a combat system in terms of like what it's got, hard mechanics for.
Yep.
And that's the reason that people tend to be a little like, well, try something else, with more social systems or whatever. He's like,
Mhm.
his perspective is, I, through improv, through decision making, through planning, whatever, am able to handle the social side of the system. Like,
Sure. Yeah.
I can just make those decisions without
Yeah.
needing a hard set of mechanics. So
Right.
what I don't want to do is try to come up with combat mechanics, because that is not where my main focus is.
Right.
So if I want to choose a system, I want the system to give me as much flexibility as possible in the areas where I have skills, and to have as much
Right.
rules as possible in the areas where I'm not interested in kind of developing myself.
Yep.
And I thought that
Or
was
no, that's very good. Yeah. No, that's well said.
it was
The
really
other
thoughtful.
answer is to make the entire game system so simplistic that it screams for your narrative, which
Right.
is what we play the Old West cowboy game.
Uh-huh.
That's on that level. So
Right.
everything's percentage. Okay. So but there's only like 6 percentage charts.
Nice.
And right, no, right. And sometimes you're totally playing that game blind. But it's some of the most fun gaming I've ever had. That's been playing that stupid game because we just make stuff up. You
Right.
know, you
Right.
know,
No,
it,
yeah, as long like
you know,
there's a certain elegance to just like remembering that like the point of this is really collaborative storytelling.
yeah, right.
And like the random elements are there so that we have to respond to them. Like that's
Mhm.
what makes it fun.
Right, right.
And once
I
you are in
agree.
that mindset, I feel like instead of it being like a game that you're trying to break or whatever,
Mhm.
then you're gonna have a lot more fun.
Yeah, it's right. I agree. Complete.
And that sometimes that means that that the Necron, like the disabled Necron, who's no threat to the players, who you clearly inserted into the story to provide them with some information, gets melted the first time that your player sees him, because he's like, Necron, and you're like, oh, you shot him in the head, and he melted into slag. Well, great.
Guy in the head.
Good luck figuring out how to defeat the enemy on this ship.
Right. Oh, all right. Uh,
Yep.
oh, you're not bluing tonight.
No, we're
You're
getting
meddling. Yeah.
leather, leather, leather,
Oh, okay.
leather.
Oh, it's leather. All right. Cool. Oh,
Yep. I've just been.
oh,
It's literally just been like painting pouches white, and now painting them leather.
yeah. Right.
It ain't much, but it's it's honest work.
Oh no, it all counts.
Well, honestly, like it's funny because I actually have made a ton of progress in the uh in this army in the last 2 weeks since I was last on.
Mhm.
Um, but I was not expecting um this week to just be so. I was so slammed that like I just didn't get anything done.
It happened.
Yeah, I mean, I've been going to bed at like 9. It's just like, all right, I'm done. I could go downstairs and like sit at my desk and stare at models and maybe put like a coat of paint on something, maybe. But then I'll just go to bed feeling defeated. And like I'd rather just go to sleep now and then like I'll hopefully tomorrow I'll have time. And that happened for a few days in a row. And then I was like, all right, I need to stream on Sunday. Like that needs to happen cuz
Oh yeah.
I have to do some hobby progress each week, or I go kind of stir crazy.
Yep. That's right. Oh, it's gotten real bad with this game store thing too.
I
I
can
missed,
imagine.
I missed a week, and I swear to God, it was like I lost a body part. I was like, "What is wrong with me?" I was like, "You know what? You didn't go and play."
Yep.
That's what it is.
I,
I'm
I'm
like,
I'm rusty as heck with the game. I
"Ah,
don't even.
guys."
But it's like riding a bicycle.
I myself never actually admitted that I actually knew how to play. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. There's not.
No,
It's not that big of a deal.
as I like to say, like, oh, you've been playing this game for 7 years. You must be pretty good. No,
No,
no.
no, mm-mm, no, not at all. Not at all. The
You
only,
you
the
are
only
sorely
thing we're,
mistaken, my friend.
the, the only thing that we're probably good at is that because the books, for the most part, are all kind of made the same way,
Yep,
then we probably know where to find it,
yep, yep.
which is which is where it just that makes
I can tell you how to play. I cannot tell you how to win.
no, not at all. Yeah, no, no, no,
Uh,
yeah, that's not.
that was actually the most fun part about being the person with the cargo 8 ridge hauler during my Ash Waste campaign. It was just like, this vehicle is unkillable, but it has made relatively little impact in my win ratio
Right.
because it turns out that it's not actually that good at achieving win conditions.
No, no, it's not. No,
Like,
it's
what do you,
good for being a great big thing.
yeah,
It's,
like, are you gonna put, how many points of weapons are you gonna put on
yeah,
it at BS4?
it's already ridiculous with without doing any of that other stuff. It's already a stupid amount.
Yep. Well, and initially mine had two two flamers on it as its only armaments, and it was like, all right, this is
Oh,
actually useless.
oh
So
my!
I took one of them off, and replaced it with a sniper rifle turret, and like at least that occasionally hit something. But like that means that my 900 point vehicle is firing a weapon that my like that 145 point Cawdor champion could have been shooting.
Yep, right, exactly. Well, okay, so I you were going for freaking Mad Max with the flamers, right?
Well,
Road
it
Warrior.
was because it was a
You did
Cawdor
the
gang,
whole thing.
so like I wanted it to be thematic.
Yeah, and the end of Road Warrior,
Yep, yep, the
which
bus.
I totally could see that. But um, so the only game I would think Ash Waste wise would be the one where the Ridge Hauler's in the center
I love that
and
one.
and everybody's going by, because then the flamer would be okay.
Yeah,
Because then anybody that shows up, you could just torch them.
we did that one at one point, but I had to modify it a bunch for it to make sense. With the player being the like person with the ridge hauler, as opposed to it being kind of both players going after a
Oh,
neutral one.
okay.
But it was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, totally. Ugh.
I really like all of the Rolling Road missions. I wish there were more. There's a new one in the Book of
In this
Desolation.
one, yes, that's right. There is.
Maybe even two. I can't like.
Hold on a second.
I think
Let
one of them
me.
was one that like was one of those hybrid ones that like turns into
Let me glue my fingers together here a second, and I'll pull it out here. Let's look. You know, it's ridiculous. I have to take the cheaters off to read.
That's annoying.
Oh, the ferrymen. Shit. Totally forgot about them. Okay. Custom rig. Oh. They also have. Really? Although rare, the most talented mechanics are capable of creating their own custom-built vehicles on a scale of a cargo 8.
What?
These vehicles are notoriously unreliable, yet still highly prized due to their imposing presence. 205 credits.
I did not see
rig.
this.
Yeah, jury rig. Makes the parts never designed whenever negotiate repairs is taken, double the credits cost. Weapon hard point, 2 weapon hard points. Locomotion. Yeah, it can be either tracked or wheeled. Custom rig has the following upgrade slots: 4 body, 4 drive, 4 engine.
Oh wow! So it's a ridge hauler chassis that you can kind of do more things with.
Yeah.
That's fun.
You can start with a transport cage.
Ooh.
Yeah, small one, 20 credits. You can start with a crash cage. Really?
See, I still need
Oh my God. Heavy stubber or mining laser is the weapon.
to.
Heavy weapon. Specials grenade launcher, long last. And this is just for the vehicle. This isn't the crew.
Right.
Huh. Sorry, I opened up the page and I just looked.
No, it's totally understandable. This is news to me, and I am intrigued.
I am very intrigued. Okay, so what do we got here? We got okay. Defend the camp. It's an underhive battle. Vehicles and war gear not included. So okay. So zone exploration is an ash waste battle. Okay, but not a rolling roads. Escape the zone.
That might be the one I was thinking of.
Well, yeah, rolling roads with open sides. Oh wow, really? Okay. Open sides. That's the one where you go off and then come back on as reserves, right?
Yep. I love those because it allows models that fall off to like potentially come out at the end of the battlefield.
Right. Don't fall behind. When a fighter is left behind, immediately roll an injury dice and apply the result to the fighter.
Well, never mind.
This would result in them being seriously injured. Roll to see if they succumb to their injuries. If it would result in them being taken out of action, roll a last string injury table. Wow. And this has roaming horrors as well. Jesus.
If
This is going to be ridiculous.
yes, the roaming horrors are that I think it's a fun mechanic, but definitely one that is it's one of those great equalizers where it can really like absolutely mess you up.
Oh, no, 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 totally. Okay, Lost in the Ruins is Ash Waste. Trophy Hunt, that's an Underhive battle. Underhell's Encounter. Yeah, that's going to be an Underhive battle.
Yeah, so I think that might have been the only.
Okay, yeah, that's the only one. Let's see here.
I think it's
Is there?
interesting.
No, go ahead.
I think it's
Go ahead.
interesting that they kind of like rethought the Hemophage Magos guy,
Mm-hmm.
because like I they never released a model for him,
Oh,
and he was an interesting character. Uh, I actually built him for one of the Inktober like days,
ah, really?
at some point. I think like 2 years ago, um, and so I've got my model of him like right here. I've recently there we go.
Cool.
So
Very
but he's
cool.
based on the previous model, and now the new model's out. Or is coming, or I think it just came out this week, right? Or it came
Yeah,
out for
I think
pre-orders this
so.
week. That
No,
is.
you're right. You're right. I think it just came out this week.
So I'm like, oh, like, so we're gonna redesign him and then release an official model. Okay, I see how it goes. uh,
Not
all right, I think I've got all of the leather done on these guys.
right.
One of these days, and I think maybe I'm shooting for next weekend, for next Sunday. Um, I am going to try out my bottle of Noosh from Monument Hobbies, which is this like wild.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's this wild acrylic medium that when you like drag it over a model and just drench the model in it, and then like clean it up using a sponge, gives you very
Mhm.
similar effect to like that kind of sponge weathering, not sponge, that kind of oil wash, like
Really?
that where you can do, and it dries faster, and you don't have to deal
Sure.
with like mineral spirits or any of that stuff.
Yeah.
That's what the claim is, and I am very intrigued to try it out.
You
Because I have
you have
been a
you have to
diehard user of oil washes for ages.
right. Yeah, it's just I don't so much money otherwise. But
Yeah,
do you
yeah.
do you have to varnish seal that
Uh,
after you do it?
I don't know.
Hmm.
Wipe away the excess to reveal the paint underneath. No chemicals required. Want to see it in action? You can learn more on our live stream. So it doesn't say anything about it requiring varnish. I always
But
wind up.
you're using it like an oil wash, right?
Right, right, exactly.
Okay.
But while it's wet.
Yeah.
So I'm very intrigued, and it's designed to. They say it can work with any acrylic paints, so it should work with anything from like GW paints to even like contrast and army color, all of that kind of army painter speed washes and Vallejo express color and all that stuff. It should work with pretty much everything. So I'm very interested to try it with different colors to kind of try out some fun different weathering, for different things. So I'm definitely I'm hoping to get some of these vehicles ready and try it on those and a couple of infantry models next week. So hopefully I'll get them there. But it's been about an hour and a half, so I'm getting ready to head to bed as I have to be up at 5. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and finish up. So if you want to say anything on your way out.
I thanks again. At some point we'll get addresses, or you can give
Yep,
me your
yep.
address, or I can send you this stuff. And yeah, I don't know. That's sounds cool. I'm up for another one.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I've really been enjoying this. It's
Yeah.
fun. We could always do one on your channel sometime.
Yeah,
Um,
when I figure out how to do it.
it's not it's not as seamless as one would hope.
Yeah, that's I'm finding that out. Yeah. But yeah, no, at some point we will. But thanks for having me on. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
yeah. All right.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right.
Talk to you later.
Have a good